Hello. Thank you all so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Before we get started, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button. I think it's in the corner of the screen on this side or that side. I'm not sure what side, but just click the button and subscribe. That would be wonderful. I just wanted to introduce the show before we got started. This show that you're about to see was my very first public stand-up comedy show ever. It was held at a banquet facility in Buffalo, New York. Now, this banquet facility had two rooms. One was called the library, which held about 125 people, and the other room was called the Grand Ballroom, which held 350 people. The show was originally supposed to be performed in the library. However, we sold out about 4 weeks before the show. So we decided to have it in the Grand Ballroom, which I was very nervous about because I wasn't very optimistic that we could sell 350 tickets. But I worked my little tail off. I was out on the street, I was passing out flyers, I was offering group discounts, I was doing whatever I had to do to sell the tickets. So by the time opening night came, not only did we sell out, but we were turning people away at the door. It was an amazing night. So please share the link on your social media, your Facebook, tell your friends about it. It's just a really great show. And I know that the pandemic has gotten a lot of people down. You know, there's so much uncertainty in the world right now. People are sick, people are dying, people are out of work, there's money issues. This pandemic has truly affected so many people in so many different ways. So I truly hope that this show makes you smile and makes you laugh, at least for the next 90 minutes. Keep smiling, keep laughing, and keep watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you your big, funny, Ive
Thank you so much. Although I have no idea why you're clapping, you haven't even seen my act yet. I could totally suck. I could be like one of these comedians that stands up here for 90 minutes going, hey, what about that airline food? But man, I am just so thrilled at the diversity of people we have here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, I celebrate diversity. I love diversity, especially if you're exactly like me. But let's see, what do we have out here? We got some straight people, some gay people, some white people, black people, older people, younger people. A couple of assholes over here. It's a skanky bitch at this table over here. Diversity, diversity. And I could have swore I saw... Yep, 2 closet cases right back there. Welcome. Welcome. Oh, well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say, I've been planning this evening for about 6.5 months now, specifically to make you laugh tonight. I just love making people laugh, and I gotta tell you, in my life, everything you see here, all of this is just par for the course, okay? Because this is what I've been doing my entire life, only on a much bigger scale. I've spent my whole life planning things to make people laugh. Even when I was a kid, I was a zany child, always figuring out ways to make people laugh. I remember one time, my parents had a whole group of friends over on the back patio. And I went into the kitchen and I grabbed a chocolate bar. And I held the chocolate bar in my hands like this, and the chocolate melted all over my hands. And then I went back outside, and in front of all of my parents' friends, I said, "Mom, Dad, we're out of toilet paper." I invited both of my sisters into my bedroom one day because I had a really funny thing planned for them. And as soon as they walked in the room, I reenacted a scene from Mommy Dearest. I did. As soon as they walked in the room, I pitched a fit. And I started throwing all of the clothes out of my closet onto the floor. And I started throwing all of the wire hangers out of my closet onto the floor. And I started yelling, "I buy you $300 dresses, and this is how you repay me." And then I went to my dresser, and I threw all the clothes out of my dresser, and I yelled, "Christina!" And my sisters would laugh their ass off. But by the end, they'd say, "Hey, thanks for the laugh, Pete." And then they'd leave me in a big mound of clothes. And I remember thinking, oh crap, I didn't think this far ahead. So then my mother would walk in the room and she'd grab a wire hanger, "Clean up this freaking mess! I buy you nice things and this is how you repay me?" But I love humor. I use humor on a daily basis. One of the ways I love to use humor is when I screw with people. I love screwing with people. Love screwing with people, especially strangers. People you don't know. Because if you do it correctly, it puts a smile on their face and it makes an impression. And then they laugh. And oh, let me tell you, that's Mama's candy right there. That's Mama's candy. You know the best place to screw with strangers? Retail. Retail, because you're dealing with different people all day, every day. I used to work at Borders Books. God rest their soul. I used to work behind the information desk, so whenever people would come up to me, I would have to tell them where they can find books and CDs and software and Barnes & Noble. Well, you know, that's what you get when you don't approve my vacation time. What? Harry Potter? Never heard of him. Try Barnes & Noble. So one day this woman was approaching the information desk. She was African American. And she was dressed in her Sunday best. She had on one of those Sunday hats that's kind of cocked to one side with a veil covering one eye. She had a polka dot skirt, a striped blazer, and a ruffled blouse underneath. And she was a heavy woman. She was really husky. She was obviously an African-American Sunday gospel woman who had just come from church. Now let me tell you guys something. The best people to screw with are African-American Sunday gospel women. Why? Because African-American Sunday gospel women have the best sense of humor. They do. They love to laugh, and they love to be screwed with, and they will screw right back, boy, let me tell you. They have an amazing personality. So this woman was approaching the front desk, and I said to myself, I'm going to have fun with her. So she came up to me and she said, "Excuse me, where are your Bibles at?" And I said, "Fiction." Didn't crack a smile. Note to self, never screw with an African American Sunday Gospel Women's Bible. Ever. Now, one thing I'm pretty good at is making people laugh, but one of the things that I'm really bad at is covering up for something that I said that didn't make somebody laugh. My hands get all clammy, and I let out this really nervous laugh. So she said, "Excuse me," and I panicked. and I said, oh, come on, you gotta admit, that was funny. You gotta admit, that was funny. And then I nudged her. So she walked by me really slow and she said, "I'll go find it myself, and when I do, I'll pray for you, steak-ass cracker." Another way I like to use humor, getting out of speeding tickets. Use humor to get out of speeding tickets. It works every time. If you can make a police officer laugh, you are golden. Okay? Ladies, I don't care how big your boobs are. Big boobs don't get you out of speeding tickets anymore. Most of the cops out there are gay now anyway. Use humor. I got pulled over by a cop recently, and as he was approaching the front of my car, I grabbed a quarter out of the center cup holder, and I held it in my hand, and he came up to the window and he said, "Excuse me, do you know how fast you were going?" And I said, "Why, yes, officer, I do. I was going 25. Huh? Oh, I could have been going 50. Cop got a good chuckle. He let me go. Everybody went home happy. I got pulled over in the state of Arizona many, many years ago, and the cop asked me for my license. I left my license in my wallet, in my duffel bag, in the trunk. So the cop put his hand on his gun, and he told me to slowly get out of my 1992 Chrysler LeBaron convertible. Red with a white top, because that's how I roll. So I got out and walked to the back of the car, and he hovered my every move. So I put the key in the trunk, and right before I opened the lid, I said, "Pay no attention to the dead prostitute." Cop got a good chuckle, he let me go, everybody went home happy. But I haven't changed much in that regard. I'm still that zany child that loves to make people laugh, you know. I've changed in many other ways. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, I've changed a lot in 25 years. I'm a completely different person. You guys would have liked me a lot better back then. A lot better. I was so full of life back then. Now I'm just full of crap. And it's getting worse, too. It's getting worse. The older I get, the worse it is. I'm becoming less tolerable, less patient, easily annoyed. Like, for example, I'm really pissed off at the guy that invented the fist bump. What the hell is that? As if meeting strangers wasn't annoying enough. I have no idea what to do anymore. Fist bump, handshake, high five, slap me five, give me some skin, patty cake, what? A friend of mine introduced me to a friend of hers. He was a fist bumper. So she's like, Peter, this is Jason. Jason, this is Peter. He put out his fist, I put out my hand. We both got confused. We didn't know what to do. I was like, no, hey, Jason, no, it's really nice to meet you. No, my name is Peter. No, it's really nice. No, I don't want to really handshake. It just got so stressful. It was just like, da-na-na, na-na, da-na-na. If you get this joke, you're over 40. So it just kind of went on for like 20 minutes. I was like, no, Jason, I just want to shake your freaking hand. So it just got so stressful, I punched him in the face. And then I punched her in the face for introducing me to a fist bumper. There's your fist bump. Next time I'll give you a foot bump right up your ass. Trendy bastards. But I have changed for the better in many other ways. There's been a lot of good changes in me. I don't cry as much as I used to. Like, for those of you who really know me, I'm a crier. I cry, I get overwrought with emotion, and I cry. It gets to be really annoying sometimes, but what are you gonna do? But I gotta admit, I was much worse back then. Much worse. Are you kidding? When I was a teenager, I would cry over everything. I would cry at the drop of a hat. I used to cry at Folgers commercials. Remember those annoying commercials from the 80s that used to make you laugh, make you cry? They made me cry. I'll never forget this one commercial in particular. It was about a college kid who came home for the holidays really early in the morning. And coincidentally, his name was Peter, too. Remember this one? So the commercial starts out with Peter walking through the front door, and of course he's this stereotypical all-American college jock. He's got the blonde hair, the blue eyes, the varsity jacket with the initial on the pocket, a little bit of herpes. So his much younger sister comes running down the stairs, Peter, Peter, Peter. And they both go into the kitchen and make a pot of Folgers coffee so that the fumes will wake up the entire house. People need carbon monoxide detectors in their homes so they don't die in the event of a gas leak. But the smell of coffee will wake them right up. Now the funny part is that it cuts to the mother, and she's in a sound sleep. And all of a sudden she wakes up to the smell of coffee. And remember how ridiculously happy she was about it? She was like, I don't know about any of you, but when I was a little boy, if my mother ever woke up to the smell of coffee, are you kidding me? She'd be like, oh, not in control, not in control. Hey, who's using my brand new cappuccino maker? Chuck! That goddamn thing cost me $147 at Gold Circle. But no, this woman wakes up with a smile on her face. So she puts on her robe, she runs halfway down the stairs, she spots Peter, and she goes, Peter. And of course, they always play that jingle that gets me every time. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me sing it. The best part of waking up is... Okay, tears running down my face. And then my mother would walk in the room and she'd say, "Why in the hell are you crying?" Because Peter came home from college. And he surprised his mother. And she was so happy to see him. It was so touching. It was so touching. Can I have a cup of coffee now? I want a cup of coffee. Many years later, when I told my parents I was gay, they were like, duh. No shot there, son. You know, I think it's very common for a comedian to poke fun of their parents. Well, my parents are a comedian's wet dream. So much material. As a matter of fact, Ellen DeGeneres calls me once a month and asks, "What have your parents done lately?" Uh-huh. Oh, hold on. Uh-huh. What did she say? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What did you say? Uh-huh. What did he say? Really? Peter, question. Have you ever been to therapy? I have wonderful parents, I do. They're very small people. Both of them are very, very small. They stand about that high. And they've been married for 1,000,000 years. As a matter of fact, Jesus Christ was their ring bearer. They loved Jesus Christ. They tell me stories about him, what a wonderful kid he was, very generous, you know. As a matter of fact, when I was born, they offered to walk on the water that broke. I've been waiting 4 months to deliver that line. Should I do it again without the stumble? Well, when my parents first got married, they struggled quite a bit financially, but my father made something of himself. He went to college, got a degree, became a successful businessman. We certainly weren't rich by any means, but my father was an excellent provider. We were comfortably well off. And my mother was a typical housewife. She cooked and she cleaned and she sewed, and our holidays were absolutely amazing, amazing Italian holidays. But my mother also read the rule books. She followed those rule books to a T, let me tell you. You know, those rule books that tell you what you're supposed to do after marrying a man who becomes well off? And the bylaws clearly state that after marrying a man who becomes well off, you're supposed to quit your job, join the country club, buy a sun visor that matches your golf bag, move into a very large, pretentious home with glass furniture, and install white carpeting. White carpeting. What flaming queen invented white carpeting? Human beings should not have white carpeting. We can barely keep our teeth white. Now, much like anything else in this world that is white, carpeting is somewhat susceptible to the occasional stain. After all, it is white carpeting. So my mother would walk in the room and she'd have the nerve to say, "Who's been walking on my white carpeting?" This, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why I'm gay. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why all gay men are gay. All gay men grew up with white carpeting. Because we weren't allowed to walk on it, we had to fly. And while we were up there, we'd look down and we'd say, "You know what? That white carpeting looks fabulous from up here." Now, my mother has this reputation of being a nag. She nags quite a bit. But she redeems herself. She does. She redeems herself through some of the cute little things that she does. And one of the cute little things that she does is she has this habit of going into the kitchen and pouring herself a glass of wine. And she goes around the house and she does her business and she puts down her glass of wine. But she can't find her glass of wine. So she goes back into the kitchen and pours herself another glass of wine. So she goes around the house and she does her business and she puts down her glass of wine. And she can't find that glass of wine. So she goes back into the kitchen and pours herself another glass of wine. And so on, and so on, and so forth. So if you ever go visit my mother around 7:30 at night, her house looks like the day after a New Year's Eve party. Now, I won't say that my mother is an alcoholic, but I will say that the last mosquito that bit her had sex with the whole football team under the bleachers. My father, on the other hand, he was much different. He was a little bit more laid back, a little bit more of a jokester. But my sisters and I, we sort of created a monster with him. Because our entire lives, we led him to believe that he was a funny man. He would say these ridiculous jokes that didn't make any sense to us whatsoever. But my sisters and I, we would always crack up. Because we knew he made the money in the family. So every time he would say something he thought was funny, we'd all go, "Oh, damn. Oh, that's hysterical." Could we have some gas money? Now, the only thing truly funny about my father is that he would tell us the exact same jokes over and over and over again, forgetting that he just told us 3 days prior. We've heard his jokes a million times, including this one. A man and his dog were riding in a horse and buggy. So the man said to the horse, "Giddy up." So the horse turned around and said, "Okay, sure. Where would you like to go?" So the man said, "Wow, I didn't know horses could talk." To which the dog looked up and said, "Neither did I." Apparently you all need gas money too. I moved to Los Angeles when I was 27 years old. And as basically where I started coming out of the closet as an openly gay man. It took many years for me. It was a very long process. So I moved to LA when I was 27, and 2 years later, I actually started to date. Now, mind you, folks, 29 years old, and I had never dated in my life. That's not a lie, that's the truth, okay? So I didn't know how to play the game that people play in the dating industry. And all you single people, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's this game you have to play when you date, especially in Los Angeles. You have to walk a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way, dress a certain way. After the date, you can't call the person for 36 hours, otherwise you'll seem too eager, or you'll be classified as a psycho. You can't pass go unless you collect $300. Games, 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 games. And I was oblivious to these games. I was just myself, and I hoped and prayed for the best. So I'll never forget the very first date I went on. We went to this very hip nightclub in the heart of West Hollywood. Now, West Hollywood is the gay mecca of the universe, okay? Now, also, mind you, this was before I started working out, okay? This is before I started lifting weights. I was really thin back then. I'm 6 feet tall, I weigh about 225 pounds now, but back then I weighed $150. I was really thin. And everybody in West Hollywood is fit and muscled and toned and tanned, and here I come all lanky with long, skinny extremities. I was so thin that if I was standing next to somebody and they farted, now also mind you that everybody in West Hollywood is very, very fashionable. Everybody looks like they just stepped out of a magazine, okay? They wear the tight, low-cut jeans with the pattern down the side, the really cool shoes that are kind of square at the top, black belt with a really cool belt buckle. They wear tight shirts with a V-neck, with the really cool accessories, the necklaces, the matching bracelets, the designer watches. Their hair was cut really crooked and kind of styled askew, or it hung over one eye, and they did this a lot. Everybody is very, very trendy. Now let me tell you what I was wearing. I was wearing a pair of black slacks freshly ironed with a crease down the middle. A pair of black dress shoes with the tassels on the shoelaces. A black and maroon mock polo shirt with the generic logo on the chest. I had on a black belt with a shiny gold belt buckle from JCPenney's that came with the pants. My hair, back when I had hair, was perfectly coiffed, like I just had it styled in a steaming machine. I had on a gold necklace with a crucifix, a gold nugget bracelet that my mother bought me in 1986, and last but not least, I was wearing I'm glad you're all sitting down for this. I was wearing my recently deceased grandmother's wedding band as a pinky ring. Quite the fashionista. So I left my apartment, I'm walking down the hall, and all I can hear are my shoes on the floor. Click, 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 and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I am hot! Woo! Click, 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 click. So we get to the nightclub, and my date is walking 3 feet ahead of me. And he's totally working the room, playing the part. He's like, hey, baby, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, yeah. Oh, I love that outfit. You look clutch. You look clutch. And I'm just trying to follow his lead. I'm like, hi, I'm Peter. Nice to meet ya. Hi, sup? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And I had a really difficult time understanding everybody because everybody had their own language. The slang in West Hollywood was worse than high school French. I didn't understand a word of it. I kept hearing the word digits. People kept using that word, digits. Well, come to find out, digits means phone number. That's how they say phone number. Hey, what are your digits? I'll call you later. Give me your digits. Everybody was giving away their digits. Well, let me tell you something, folks. Nobody was asking me for my digits. So after about an hour of this nonsense, we finally decided to go on the dance floor and dance, which was totally up my alley because I love to dance. So we get on the dance floor, and the music is thumping. Oots, 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 oots. And I'm showing this guy all of my best moves, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I am hot. Woo! Oots, 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 oots. And I'm dancing away, trying to fit in like an asshole. Ooh, 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 ooh. And everybody on the dance floor is rolling their ass off on ecstasy and crystal meth, and I'm standing there with my vodka cranberry. And the lights are flashing and the music's thumping and I'm having a ball. So then my date takes out a pack of gum and he puts a piece in his mouth and then he offers me a piece and I say, oh, no thanks, gum makes me fart. And of course the music's so loud he doesn't hear me. I said, gum makes me fart. The chewing. I tend to swallow air when I'm chewing. Makes me fart. Yeah, I am hot. Woo! I never felt so judged in my life. It's amazing how judgmental people can be when all they see is, this. They don't take the time to see, what's in here. And I gotta admit, I'm no saint. I'm guilty of it myself. I judge, okay? I think it's human nature to judge. I don't think we can help it. But with me, it's like I try very hard not to judge people on what most people judge others on. Okay, like for example, I really try hard not to judge people on what they look like or what they wear or their choice of friends, Because you know what, folks? I'm one of these very, very strange people who actually understands that the entire world is not going to live their lives according to how I want them to live it. Really, what a concept. So that's all fine and dandy. I judge people on stupid, menial, ridiculous things that nobody really cares about. Like, for example, I judge people on how many Facebook friends they have. I do. As soon as somebody friend requests me, I immediately see how many friends they have. Now, you know what? I'm probably the nicest, most down-to-earth guy you'll ever meet in your life. But whenever somebody friend requests me, and they have less friends than I do, I go, oh, fuck that guy. He only has 116 friends. I have more cousins than that. What a loser. But if the person has more friends than I do, I go, oh, please. She has 867 friends. Bullshit. The hell is she kidding? Nobody likes her. She's a bitch. She must have a lot of cousins. I also judge people on what floor they live on in a high-rise condominium building. Strange, I know. Hear me out. I have friends that live in Toronto. They live on the 46th floor of a building. Their apartment overlooks the entire city. It's absolutely stunningly gorgeous, okay? So whenever I go to Toronto, they allow me to stay in their guest bedroom. So if I'm in the lobby and I enter the elevator with another tenant from the building and they press floor 6, come on. I'm only human. I secretly think to myself, he only lives on the 6th floor. You can't even see Church Street from the 6th floor. I'm going to the 46th floor. You loser. I'll tell you where, when you have no hair, there's no place for the sweat to go but down. I'll tell you where people judge each other the most, and that's at the gym. Whole lot of judging going on at the gym, folks. Let me tell you, I started working out 14 years ago. I was 27 years old. I had a gym membership at Gold's Gym in Hollywood, California. And man, I was amazed at how judgmental people can be there. And you know, again, I'm kind of guilty of it myself, you know? I mean, I can look at somebody from across the room and without even talking to them, I can totally have them pegged as to what kind of person they are. And most of the time I was wrong because, you know, sometimes people aren't what they seem. You know, we've all experienced that, especially in Los Angeles. People are not what they seem. There was a guy that used to work out around the same time that I did every day, all right? He was absolutely gigantic, huge bodybuilder. He was like 6'5". He must have weighed about 300 pounds. His shoulders were up to here, his chest was touching his chin. His legs were like this, the veins in his neck were bigger than my arm. And he always had this mean look on his face, like a scowl. I was really intimidated by this guy. I mean, I was only 150 pounds back then. I would purposely walk around him in order to avoid him. Well, one day he walked up to me. And he looked at me, and he looked at the bench. And he looked at me, and he looked at the bench. And I said, do you need me to spot you? And he went. So he turned around, he picked me up by his butt cheeks. Well, this is why bodybuilders walk like this. They have a spotter in their ass. So he goes over to the bench and he puts me down. So he lays on the bench and he starts lifting like 600 pounds and he's totally playing the part. He's like, huh, 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 and his muscles are bulging all over the place. Huh, 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 and his veins are popping out and he's sweating like a pig. Huh, huh. So he slams the weight back on the rack. He sat up, looked at me and said, bench presses are so tough. So I gave him my digits. So like I said, I've been working out for about 14 years now, and I gotta tell you all something. It's just really been the most rewarding, gratifying journey of my life. Yeah. Mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, there's nothing like it. I mean, it just amazes me. It really does. From when I think the way I used to be, it's amazing how much self-esteem and confidence that you acquire when you look good and you feel good from the inside out. I mean, you guys got to understand something. I grew up with horrible, horrible self-esteem issues. No confidence in myself whatsoever. I viewed the entire world as better than me. That's how I lived about 35 years of my life. But I'm different now. I've evolved, okay? I see the world so differently. I'm 41 years old, and I'm just aware at all of the things that I'm awesome at, all of the wonderful, wonderful talents that I possess, only me. But I'm also well aware of all of the things that I'm really bad at. And trust me, folks, all of the things that I'm bad at completely outnumber the things that I'm good at. By far. And the nice thing is, I'm okay with it. Finally, I'm okay with it. Finally, in my life, I'm okay knowing that I suck at so many things. I'm really bad at math. Oh, that felt good. Hello, my name is Peter, and I'm really bad at math. And I used to get so down on myself, I would beat myself up over the stupidest little things like being bad at math. Not anymore. Not anymore. I see the world so differently now. I actually thank God I'm bad at math, because the people who are good at math are boring as shit. There's this saying that I've heard my entire life. Perhaps you've heard it too. The saying goes, oh, I just put 2 and 2 together and got 4. You've heard that saying? Well, to this day, I have no clue what that means. That's not how my mind works, okay? Now call me crazy, but when I put 2 and 2 together, I get 22. Anybody? That's how my mind works. I'm not analytical, I'm visual. And one of the things that sucks most about being bad at math is sometimes I have to do that emergency math in a public setting where people are waiting for me. Talk about stressful. I went out to dinner recently with a couple friends of mine, and at the end of dinner they said, oh, Peter, don't worry about dinner. We'll take care of dinner. You just leave a tip. And then they gave me the bill, and I was like, oh, crap. The bill came to exactly $100, and they want me to leave a 20% tip. Shit! Okay, don't panic. So now I gotta visualize myself writing it down on a piece of paper like I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay, there's the 100. Put the 20 under that. Draw the line. Okay. Bring down the 0, move the decimal point over 2 spaces, carry the 2, erase the comma. I get 38 cents. All right. 38 cents. Okay, yeah, this will definitely help her with tuition. All I have are 3 quarters, 2 dimes, and 6 pennies. How in the hell am I going to make 38 cents out of that? All right, well, she was a really good waitress. I'll just round it up to $1. There you go. Thank you, Rachel. Good luck with school. I have a life partner. His name is Mark. Whatever. Thank you and good night. I don't know, should we get him to stand up and say hi or what? Mark has sleep apnea. So he wears what's called a CPAP machine. Or as I lovingly refer to it as, that fucking machine. A CPAP machine is a device that he wears over his face that pumps air up his nose all night so he doesn't die. So all I hear all night long is but at 3 o'clock in the morning, it sounds more like... It's sort of like sharing the bed with an asthmatic Darth Vader. Mark and I are very blessed. We really are. One of the reasons why we're blessed is because both of our parents are very accepting of our relationship, and I think that's very important. I really do. And it's wonderful because my parents absolutely adore Mark, and his parents tolerate me. As a matter of fact, I think my parents like Mark more than they like me. Which double extra sucks because I think Mark's parents also like him more than like me. Mark and I had gotten into an argument one morning, and later on in the afternoon, I was talking to my mother on the phone. And she said, "Peter, what's the matter with you? Why are you in such a bad mood?" I said, "Oh, Mom, Mark and I got into an argument this morning." She said, "What'd you do?" "I know the way you get Peter. What did you say to him?" Meeting Mark's parents for the first time was very interesting for me. Well, because Mark's parents are very conservative, quiet, content, subdued, respectful, kind, gentle people. And my parents are not. So the very first time I met Mark's parents, we were at their house, sitting at their kitchen table, and this was all I got. Oh, I have a funny story to tell you guys. Your mother and I, we took our grandsons, Tommy and Dennis, to the car show. And Dennis, he tripped over the tire iron. And he fell onto the pavement. So for the rest of the day, everybody kept calling him Iron Man. Which was quite a contrast because the very first time Mark met my parents, this was all he got. Will you eat your peas? Your mother cooked all day to make you that meal. Eat your peas. Oh, Jesus, Chuck, if they don't want to eat their peas, they don't have to eat their peas. Oh, shut up, I wasn't talking to you. The only reason why I keep you around is because you know how to cook. Linda, put on the Mariah Carey Christmas album. I love that album. Oh, Jesus Christ, Chuck. How many goddamn times do we have to listen to that goddamn CD? The only reason why you want to listen to Mariah Carey is because she's got big tits. Oh, shut up, I wasn't talking to you. Everybody's got big tits compared to you. So by the end of the evening, Mark had developed this nervous twitch. And he had this look on his face for 2 weeks. It sort of looked like somebody threw him a surprise party. He never got over the surprise. So I had to reassure him, don't worry. The twitch will go away eventually. Give it a few days. No, you don't need therapy. Trust me, therapy doesn't work, I know. They finally passed gay marriage in New York State. It's a glorious victory, it really is. I'm glad to see that the country is going forward. But I have to be honest with everybody here, like brutally honest, and please don't turn on me for this. But the truth of the matter is, I don't care. I really don't care. I know, hear me out. I mean, it's a wonderful victory, don't get me wrong. After so many years of struggle, it finally happened, it's a glorious victory, I get it. But it's just not what excites me. I mean, seriously, what do I care that gay men have yet another reason to put on a dress? Or that lesbians have yet another reason to put on a dirty t-shirt covered in cat hair? It's not what excites me. The real reason why I'm glad that gay marriage passed is because it finally proves what I've been saying all along for many years. And that is, if you want to change the laws in this country, if you want to fight injustice and win every time, get yourself a pissed off lesbian. You will win every time. The lesbians love to fight for their causes. They love it. And it could be the most ridiculous cause on the face of the planet. They will still fight tooth and nail. Do you want to know how you can tell where a lesbian lives? Because every spring on their front lawn, they have those yellow signs that say, "Watch for motorcycles." The lesbians are trying to save motorcycles now. Now, with all due respect to the motorcycle driving community, but why do I have to watch out for you? That doesn't make sense to me. If I collide with a motorcycle, I'm not going to be the one that ends up in a body cast. As a matter of fact, I drive an SUV. If I ever hit a motorcycle, I probably wouldn't even notice. Those signs should say, sell your freaking motorcycle, they're dangerous. It would be like telling Carnival Cruises, watch out for jet skiers. It would be like telling a 747, hey, watch out for the hang gliders. Don't hit the hang gliders, you'll hurt them. Check your blind spot. But boy, oh boy, those lesbians, let me tell you, they are the ones to thank for gay marriage. They fought a good fight, let me tell you. You know what I think would be very interesting? Like in 20 years from now, I wonder what the divorce rates are going to be like in the gay community. I wonder if they're going to be as bad as the straight community. Mark and I have been together for 9.5 years, and I think, okay, go ahead, you can clap. I wasn't expecting an applause, but I'll take it. I think in the straight community, 9 years is the equivalent to 4 kids, 3 fathers, and 2 restraining orders. "51% of marriages end in divorce. What's going on, straight people? Time to represent." What's the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is. I will tell you what the problem is, okay? This evening is not just entertaining, it's informational. I will tell you what the problem is right now. First of all, by round of applause, how many straight people do we have here tonight? My straighties are here. My straighties. I love straight people. I adore straight people. I have a cousin who's straight. Well, let me tell you what I think the problem with straight marriage is, okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, please, bear with me. Hear me out. Because I've thought about this for minutes, and I think I have the answer. The problem with straight marriage is that women expect too much. All right, hear me out. Ladies, hold on, hear me out. The thing is, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's your parents' fault. It's your parents' fault. Why? What did your parents do as soon as you turned 4 years old? They stuck your ass in a princess outfit. And they put a freaking tiara on your head and they said, oh, look how precious. And then they allowed you to watch movies like Cinderella and Snow White and Prince Charming. And you all learned from a very young age that someday you're going to meet your prince in shining armor and live happily ever after. And then 20 years later, you meet who you think is your Prince Charming. But as soon as that wedding is over, ladies, as soon as that wedding is over, you sadly realize that he is nothing but a beer-drinking, football-watching, ball-scratching, reclining chair that farts. Ladies, you expect too much. But don't turn on me, ladies. Don't turn on me, because now let me tell you what the man's problem is. Fellas, your problem is that you're attracted to women. Gay men, we don't have to deal with the same problems you all deal with. We're exactly the same. We walk the same, we talk the same, we act the same, we think the same, we react the same, we expect the same. We don't have to worry about, oh, why doesn't she understand men? Or why doesn't he understand women? We're exactly alike. I don't give a crap what Mark's thinking after sex. What do I give a shit what he's thinking? Mark's not allowed to think, he knows that. He doesn't want to share with me while we're lying in bed. Well, let me tell you what my conversation is like with Mark after sex. Honey, what you thinking? I don't know, not a goddamn thing. Me neither, yeah! All right. Do you want to share with me? Fuck no, I want to sleep. Me too, yeah! Oh, wait a minute, we can't go to sleep. I left all the lights on downstairs. Screw it, we'll turn them off in the morning. Yeah! Love you! We don't have to worry about that opposite gender confusion. It's wonderful. Let me tell you what gay people do have to worry about. Gay people have to worry about people's reactions when they find out we're gay. That's always fun. Okay, sometimes people's reactions can be downright idiotic. I was talking to this guy at the gym one day, and he asked me if I had a wife, and I told him the exact same thing I tell everybody who asks me that question. I said, well, no, I don't have a wife, I have a life partner, we're a same-sex couple. And he said, you're gay? And I said, yeah, we've been together for about 9 years now. And he actually said to me, oh man, I bet you love going to the doctor for a prostate exam. How do you respond to that? I just looked at him and said, fuck you. Nobody likes a prostate exam. I don't care who you are. I hate prostate exams. You want to know what I hate even more than prostate exams? That awkward moment after the exam. Where there's dead silence in the room. The doctor's peeling off that rubber glove, putting the jar of Vaseline back in the cupboard. And then he throws you that one Kleenex like you're some sort of $5 crack whore. And then you gotta do that walk of shame out of the office. Seeking a Silkwood shower. And then later on that night, you wonder if you should call him the next day. Oh, I always call my doctor the day after a prostate exam. All the time. All the time. Well, because my doctor is really handsome. He is. And he's around my age, too, you know. And he is a doctor. And I didn't notice him wearing a wedding ring on his finger. Well, at least not after the exam. About a year and a half ago, I adopted a puppy. This dog, he's a full-grown dog now. But this dog, let me tell you, he's just the light of my life. It's so amazing how attached you get to your pet. But when I brought him home a year and a half ago, it was unbeknownst to Mark. He didn't know I was going to bring the puppy home. So I brought him home and kind of surprised him, and he was very concerned that I had adopted a puppy. He was very concerned because Mark has a cat. Our cat's name is Sasha. She's 17 years old. And Mark was concerned that the dog and the cat weren't going to get along. And rightfully so, because, our dog loves the cat. He just wants to chase her and play with her and sniff her, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with him. She hisses at him, she swats at him, she runs away from him. It does get to be kind of problematic at times. So I was talking to my mom on the phone one day, and I was telling her a little bit about the problem. And she said, "Oh, Peter, you just need to get rid of that damn cat." And I said, "No, Ma, I can't do that." I said, "Mark's had that cat for 17 years. He adores her. She really is part of the family, So she said, "Well, just get rid of the cat and make it look like an accident." I said, "Go on." She said, "Well, Peter, here's what you need to do. Before you go to bed, leave the basement door open. She'll wander outside in the middle of the night and the coyote will get her." The cat's still with us, don't worry. As it turns out, she runs faster than coyotes. But I'm not a quitter. Ever since gay marriage passed in New York State, I've sort of developed this thirst for knowledge for gay history. Okay, I don't know if all of you are truly aware of what's going on out there, but all of us are living smack dab in the middle of a civil rights movement. A gay civil rights movement. It's very exciting, and I certainly hope you all share that excitement with me. And the reason why it's so exciting is because we're winning. And the gay civil rights movement is just as important and just as prevalent as every other civil rights movement this country has seen, including black rights and women's rights and the suffrage movement. Okay, so I find it very interesting to find out how the gay civil rights movement got started, where we've been, where we are, and where we need to be. So a friend of mine recommended this book called Stonewall. He said the book Stonewall will explain how the gay civil rights movement got started back in the 1960s with the Stonewall riots in New York City. So I have to be honest with everybody, okay? I'm not much of a reader. I've never been much of a reader. I don't like reading. I don't find it enjoyable. I never did, and I probably never will. Okay, like reading a book from cover to cover in my life, I could probably count on one finger how many times I've done that. And I know, ladies and gentlemen, I know that all of the experts on the face of the planet say that reading is the best thing for you, and that reading is the root of all evil. And if you read books, the angels will descend from the heavens and give you your wings, and then give you a blowjob, and if you read books, you'll spend all of eternity wasping through a field of poppies while 17 virgins tickle your balls. I don't like to read. Screw the experts. And you know what else I don't like, ladies and gentlemen? I don't like people who do like to read. Avid readers are the most arrogant, self-righteous snobs I have ever met in my life. Especially if you go to their homes, okay? And you walk in their living room and they have that enormous Beauty and the Beast bookshelf. With a fucking ladder. And then, of course, they feel the need to brag about it. See all those books? I read all those books. Yesterday. What? I can't possibly have lunch with you today. I'm going to the beach to read a book. Something you haven't done in a very long time. Really? Okay, well, you do that. I'm gonna go get laid. Something you haven't done in a very long time. So not being a reader, I was walking down the street one day and I passed this very small mom and pop bookstore. And I thought to myself, what the hell? I'll go in, read the first couple of pages, maybe something will spark interest, I'll want to read the whole book. Who knows, stranger things have happened. So I walk inside and, oh my God, I felt so sorry for this poor schmuck that was trying to help me. I don't know what came over me. It must have been 40 years of gay rage or something, but I just verbally threw up all over this poor sap. And he had no idea where to go. I was like, hello, sir, my name is Peter, and I've become very interested in learning about gay history, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of books on the topic, and I don't think that's right, sir. I don't think that's right at all. I think gay history should be taught all over the world. I think gay history should be taught in universities, just like black history and women's history. As a matter of fact, sir, I think there should be a Gay History Month. I think there should be a big statue of Harvey Milk in the middle of Washington, D.C. and San Francisco. And do you want to know why I think that, sir? Do you want to know why I think that? Because I'm gay. And I didn't fully come out of the closet until I was 33 years old. And I want to know why, sir. I want to know why I had to spend 30 years of my life lying and cheating and deceiving and living a double life and breaking people's hearts. And I want to know why, sir, I had to spend 30 years of my life learning to hate myself because the entire world seemed to hate me. And there's this book called Stonewall that explains how the gay civil rights movement got started back in the 1960s. It also explains what the gay community has gone through over the past many, many decades. The beatings, the killings, the arrests, the teenage suicides, the hate, the oppression, the discrimination, the religious pressure, and the abandonment of family, which quite frankly, sir, I think is total bullshit. Now, the book is called Stonewall, and I would really like to read it. Can you please tell me where it is? And he said, fiction. And I said, excuse me. So she came up to me and she said, excuse me, where are your Bibles at? And I said, fiction. If you get this joke, you're over 40. I was like, no, Jason, I just want to shake your freaking hand. So it just got so stressful, I punched him in the face. But as soon as that wedding is over, ladies, as soon as that wedding is over, you sadly realize that he is nothing but a beer-drinking, football-watching, ball-scratching, reclining chair that farts.